this video, I'm going to show you how we booked 700 sales calls in 365 days while our client only spent 30 minutes per week on social media. If you're posting a lot but not seeing pipeline come in, watch this video because I'll break down exactly how we turn attention into pipeline. By the way, I'm Christian. My agency has helped over 40 startup founders and agency owners generate pipeline from their LinkedIn. In the next few minutes, I'll teach you how to turn your profile into a landing page, turn your content into always-on sales assets, and teach you how to engage on LinkedIn without wasting too much time. Step 1 is profile optimization and setup. The problem is that most founders treat their LinkedIn like a resume. Sure, they put their job titles, their responsibilities, their education, and all of that stuff. What they don't know is that their profile is actually a landing page, and when it's used correctly, it's an always-on sales machine. The truth is, visitors decide in 10 seconds whether they're going to stay on your page or click off. So it's super important to nail every single aspect of your profile so that they don't click off. Let's hop into our client Nick's here and show you how we set his up.
My name is Nick Abram, just like Christian said. I run LeadBird. We're a B2B lead gen agency with about 270 active clients. Send about 2 to 3 million emails a month roughly, and then we're the second most replied to account on Smart Leads.
First thing I want you to notice is a clean headshot right here. It's clean, it's identifiable, and everyone knows when they see Nick's face on the platform that it's Nick. Second, what I want you to notice is his banner. While so many people will use a stock photo or a picture of them doing a hobby, your banner is actually great real estate to convey a ton of social proof. Here's how we did it for him. First, we put his offer in bold. Meeting ready leads, 100% performance based. When someone clicks onto Nick's profile, they know what he's about. Arguably more importantly though is what's under that headline. Trusted by over 100 active clients, including logo, 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 logo. This conveys social proof. It's the same reason you'll go to any B2B SaaS or agency website and see a logo bar of their customers or people they've worked with. Having this so high up on the profile above the fold is crucial. Now let's move on to his headline. Here, Nick does a good job of using the right keywords for sales nav filtering when he gets searched, but also explains exactly what he does and who he does it for. He's a founder at LeadBird, of course. He does B2B lead gen, obviously, and the real value prop here is pay per meeting ready leads. So between the banner and the headline, any prospect who lands on Nick's profile can tell that he's all about pay per meeting ready leads in just a couple of seconds. And that's the point. Heading down, we have his call booking URL. You can interchange that for any type of newsletter, content asset, lead magnet, or whatever else, as long as you can funnel the attention somewhere further down your funnel. Very similarly, he's got his visit my website button set up. You can, of course, again, do a newsletter, a content asset, a case study, a lead magnet, or whatever else. As long as you're pushing to something further down your funnel, that's the point. Next, we have Nick's About section. He starts with a bold statement describing the problem that he solves. In this case, lead generation is broken. He describes that problem a little bit more. Too many companies will try to generate leads themselves but fail, or they'll hire a lead gen agency with bloated retainers who can't deliver. If you're following along, this perfectly sets up Nick's service as a solution, being that they don't charge hefty retainers and they can generate leads. Next, we quickly describe that there's a gap between where most prospects are and where they want to be with respect to lead generation, and we'll obviously paint Nick's service as the bridge for that gap, which we get to here. Here, we talk through the benefits of his service and how he achieves those results. If you have a software product, you can do something very similar, but this is just an agency example. Then we have the CTA to book a meeting from his profile, which remember, we have the visit my website button and the URL under his header. Next, we'll move on to his featured posts. You can do a lot with this. The only requirement is that you use that real estate to convey more trust. So in Nick's case, we have a couple of lead magnets there. Other options are case studies or customer stories, testimonials, product demos, or anything like that. Even your best performing post will work. Something that conveys to your ICP that when they land on your profile, you are someone they can trust to deliver the result you can deliver. And finally, in the experience section, we have brief descriptions of Nick's business experience, obviously adding in as much social proof here as we can. Now that we've got a profile optimized, we need to get some content on it. The problem so many founders run into is that they either don't know what to post about or cannot post consistently enough. Our content bucket framework fixes both of those problems. Content buckets, or some people call them content pillars, are just repeatable areas you can ask questions within to derive great content answers from. These buckets get split into the top, middle, and bottom of funnel. Top of funnel buckets are designed to get people to know you more. Top of funnel content is generally more LinkedIn optimized, if you want to call it that. They'll be more broad and general. These are things like takes on remote work, AI, hiring, firing, your own personal entrepreneurship story, business takes, that type of thing. And when you set up these buckets at the top of the funnel, you can ask multiple questions within each bucket to derive multiple pieces of content. Just for example, if you're talking about hiring, one post idea might be a description of the best interview question you've ever asked and why. Another post idea might be the unconventional things you do in your hiring process based on past experience. Another post idea for hiring might be listing off the red flags you see in the interview process for a candidate. The point here is you can ask multiple questions within each bucket to derive multiple pieces of content. Let's move on to middle of funnel. Middle of funnel content is generally designed for people to like you more. The idea is that they come in through the top and get nurtured down. This is more niche and less broad content that appeals strictly to your ICP and likely no one else. Just for example, some proposed content buckets in this case might be commentary on relevant industry news, pro tips for your ICP to get the result they want, mistakes your ICP might make when they're trying to get the results you want, hot takes or opinions on your industry and your industry specifically. Again, same as top of funnel, you can ask multiple questions within each of these buckets to derive multiple content ideas. And finally, bottom of funnel content. This is designed to make people trust you more and get them over the line to book a call or take the next step in your funnel. Generally, across most B2B founders, this will be some variation of case studies / client stories, answers to FAQs they get in the sales process, answers to objections they get during the sales process, any product or service updates, and things along those lines. This will make up less of your content mix overall, so I wouldn't spend too much time here, but it is important to have bottom of funnel content out there. Even though it'll perform worse, it's very important to get people over the line. So now we've got our profile optimized and our content buckets made. All that's left to do is write great content and distribute it. Truth is, founders are the best source of great LinkedIn content, but so few of them can write it consistently. And I get it, you have a business to run, but I promise you, LinkedIn can quite literally change the trajectory of your business just like it did mine. So if you're on the fence about posting, just watch this system we've derived for him. Nick, very much like you, had no time to write content, but still wanted content going out from his account. Instead of forcing him to block off 3 or 4 hours a week to write his content, we just interview him once every Monday for 30 minutes.
It's like 99% hands off, 30 minutes for the call every week, and then 30 minutes for reviewing content, which is like nothing.
If you remember the content buckets from the last step, we derive 1 to 2 prompts per bucket that we've made for him, and we ask them him every Monday on a recorded call. These are targeted prompts that pull stories, frameworks, tips, and tactics for his ICP that are in his voice quite literally because the call is transcribed. But from there, myself and our team of writers will turn that call transcription into a week's worth of LinkedIn content for Nick in Nick's voice, ready for Nick's review. Then, myself and Nick will work back and forth on edits to make sure he feels like the content is perfect. This is what lets us capture and maintain Nick's voice without him having to spend 4 hours per week writing content. And for what it's worth, Nick is smart and so are you. If you have the time to write and want to write, don't hire a content agency like us. Try writing the content yourself. Instead of running an interview though, write down your own content ideas within each bucket and then ask yourself the question and write the post accordingly. By the way, if you're a B2B founder trying to generate leads from LinkedIn, I'm giving away free content and profile audits from the description below. Just click the link and fill out some questions and I'll get back to you. By now, we've optimized your profile, come up with content buckets, ran our content interview, written posts, and got them approved. All that's left to do is post, but there's certain things you need to do to make sure you maximize performance. And LinkedIn gurus will tell you to join engagement groups and warm up the algorithm and do a ton of other nonsense that does more harm to your account than good. Really, good posting hygiene for founders just comes down to 3 easy rules. Number 1, try to post between 8:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. local time. That's generally when you'll get the most reach. Number 2 is to reply to all comments on the post as early as possible and as much as possible. You don't want any comment to go unanswered. Basically, the LinkedIn algorithm rewards early engagement. That means the first 60 minutes of your post can determine whether it gets 500 impressions or 50,000. And every comment you reply to helps with this. And lastly, go leave some thoughtful comments on your ICP's posts. This is what most founders slack off doing or forget to do altogether, but I promise you it has a profound impact on post performance. Not for some secret algorithm hack reason, but for something much simpler. It's that every single comment you leave on another's post is an ad to get back to your profile. So for example, here's a real comment I left on someone's account who has my ICP in their audience. The post was about finding inspiration for social media posts. I left a deep, thoughtful comment that could have been its own post in itself, which by the way is a great barometer for the health of a comment, and got 180 impressions. For context, I've seen people bank over 100,000 impressions on comments. Some of ours have gotten 20,000 plus. The point though, in tying back in our profile optimization, is that look what happens when you leave a comment. Your profile picture is there, your first and last name if you have it entered as such, and most importantly, your headline. So all that to say, your outbound comments effectively act as ads that are free to get people back to your profile that day. And that is why I preach commenting so hard. So if you're following along, by now you've optimized your profile, come up with relevant content buckets, written posts that fit those buckets, distributed those posts and hopefully left some outbound comments, and hopefully done so over a 30, 60, or 90-day period. Because just like anything, great founder presences take time to build. But once you do build them, they are wonderful assets, just like they were for Nick. So this is from our case study page. More importantly for LinkedIn specifically, he's gotten 7 million impressions in the last 12 months. Most importantly though, he's booked 700 plus demos directly attributable to his socials.
In terms of pipeline, I would easily say that like a third of our pipeline is strictly from content.
One small caveat is he obviously has a very strong offer, which you may not have. I would strongly recommend you strengthen your offer to whatever degree you can for LinkedIn, but I'm sure there are some constraints for your business. Beyond that, Nick has added 16,000 LinkedIn followers since we started with him, and he spends, again, 30 minutes per week on social. So if you want to see how this system will work directly for you, check the description because I'm offering free content audits this month. Just click the form, fill out a bunch of questions about your LinkedIn presence, and we'll get back to you. We'll review your profile, look at your most recent posts, and identify opportunities for you to generate more pipeline from the platform. Links in the description. See you next time.